Evolution, that's the name of the paper.
Okay, so yeah, it does disagree with like
So
kind of
let's
just purely,
establish there are alternatives to natural selection.
No, but they both occur. Natural selection occurs, and genetic drift occurs, and this neo-Lamarckianism or epigenetics
You're
occurs.
conflating the tautology.
Anything that we have like evidence of occurring occurs, or like we adopt the model as it occurs. This is the scientific method.
So what you're doing is this.
We adopt our models based on evidence. What do you have a problem with about that?
What you're doing is this. You're committing the fallacy of the undistributed middle. There are two definitions of natural selection. There is the definition in which it's a tautology, survival of the fittest survive. I agree, everyone agrees, that lamppost agrees. What we're speaking about is natural selection generating novelty, generating biological forms, body forms.
Yes, it does that.
Natural selection being the driving force from the first cell to you, me, and the kangaroo. That's what we're speaking about.
Do you think the proponents of the extended synthesis disagree that natural selection leads to any speciation? Do you think they disagree with that proposition?
I think the proponents of the third way of evolution disagree.
What is this third way of evolution?
Okay.
Is that another name for the extended synthesis model?
No, it's more than the extended synthesis. The extended synthesis still tries to work within modern synthesis. It tries to extend it. The third way is saying this.
Is that mainstream? Is there kind of
Yes. So let me just explain, right? So the third way of evolution, the reason why it's called third way is this. They are a bunch of secular atheist evolutionary biologists who do not believe in God or intelligent design or creationism, and they don't believe in Darwinian evolution. So what they want to do is they want to come up with a third way. And we have scientists here from China, from America, from Europe, from all over the world, from Harvard, Oxford, MIT, all over the place. What they're saying is this. They're saying natural selection doesn't work, we need another mechanism.
Okay, so they would disagree, for example, if you have like a population of moths, and moths in the city are exposed to, say, soot or sooty environments, and then they develop a different...
That's the first definition of natural selection.
But that leads to the biodiversity.
No, that's the
That is biodiversity. If you have like two different organisms previously of the same species adopting different phenotypes as a result of a selection pressure, that's natural selection. Surely.
This is again a fallacy of equivocation. They're not the same thing. They're not the same thing. For you to say that darker moths are, say, they're more likely to survive because they were on the trees than the lighter moths, all you're pointing out is the survival of the fittest. Now, survival of the fittest
and the outcome
obviously exists.
The outcome is biodiversity.
But that's not, no, sir. That's not the same thing as human chimp ancestry or any of these other speculative hypotheses. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
No, but you asked like, but you said that like this group of biologists like would disagree that natural selection led to this like biodiversity occurring.
Sir,
are you really saying that?
Sir,
can you give me a particular name you would disagree with that?
This is a good opportunity to churn out some of the propaganda, right? Even that very experiment that was done by Catchwell. Do you know he faked those experiments?
Okay, but
he was exposed.
No, but there are plenty of other examples.
Did you know that?
I don't know that, but I'll check on it later.
Okay.
But there are other examples.
Have you heard of Jerry
speciation.
Coyne? Have you heard of Jerry Coyne?
There are other examples of speciation.
Sure, but have you heard of Jerry Coyne?
No.
Very famous atheist evolutionist who's always with Richard Dawkins, right? Do you know what he called that experiment?
No.
He called that experiment like finding out Santa Claus is not real because Catchwell faked those results.
Okay, sure.
Right? But assuming those results, sir, do you know what he did? Those moths were dead and he stuck them on the trees.
Okay.
So that very experiment was faked.
Okay, but there are plenty of other experiments
number one,
that's
a good way of showing how this is more than just science. Yeah, we have to fake experiments. But even if it was true, at
there are
best,
plenty of other experiments that show the same thing.
Sure,
so you're kind of showboating at this point.
No, sir. Do you know what? We can move on to other ones, but the very fact you want to move on shows you might have known some of this before.
No, I didn't know that before.
And if you did know that,
the last time I heard about that was in A-level biology about that particular moth example.
Sure. And how many other sciences do you know of in which you have these types of fakes happening at a mass scale?
Like you get it in medicine quite often, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's the reason when they do it in medicine?
There are various reasons.
What? Financial?
Like ego, financial.
Right.
Sometimes they believe that they're actually right, but they've uncovered like
I mean when they do it on purpose. I mean when they do it on purpose.
Like a variety of reasons.
Right.
Like
The reason when they do it in Darwinism is because of ideological. For example, when we see that famous image of the chimpanzee-like creature becoming into a human being, Now you're a learned person. Tell me this: do any of the evolutionary biologists across the world actually know what that common ancestor looked like?
No. Well, we can have a we can have a what should we call it, an error bound, or a confidence interval of what it must have looked like.
Tell you,
because there's evidence to suggest, like, we wouldn't believe that it had two heads, for example. So obviously we can make some assumptions
what if
of
it
what
looked like a human being?
What if it looked like a human being? Well, that would be less supported because we.
No, sir,
it would be less supported because we know that, like, genes drift over time.
Sir, let me just tell you this, right? Henry Gee, the senior editor of Nature, the most prestigious journal in the world, he's an atheist and evolutionary biologist. In his book, The Accidental Species, do you know what he says about the common ancestor between human beings and chimpanzees? It could have been any way. We don't actually know what it looks like. It may even been human-like.
No, but it wouldn't be exactly like us, though.
Look, sir.
No.
Okay, sir.
Do we know that kind of genes, the gene distribution changes over
sir,
time?
It could have looked like a pig, for all we know.
That's unlikely, though.
Wait,
you're spreading such misinformation
sir.
here.
No,
you're leading people to believe that kind of genes just do whatever they want, or that any genetic outcome is equally likely. That's not true.
Sir, wait, sir. Do you believe that natural selection can turn a species A into B?
It could do.
Can it turn B back into A?
That's much harder to do. But
okay.
Why?
Why?
Hypothetically, it could.
Why?
It's much harder to do because
are birds the descendants of dinosaurs?
In a way, you could say
fine. And we're also technically the descendants of the first cell.
Yeah.
Right. So, from a Darwinian perspective, I'm going to make a claim. If you just shoot down the claim, that's fine. Classification is almost arbitrary because any species can slide into another. You can have a human-like ancestor. Wait a second. A human-like ancestor becoming into a chimpanzee-like ancestor becoming into a pig, or the other way around. Anything goes.
No, that's not
true. You disagree?
Yeah.
Let me give you a reference for that. Michael Roos, Philosophy of Human Evolution, the Cambridge book.
Okay, and
here's what he says.
He's claiming it's as easy for, like, the first cell to evolve into, like, a dinosaur as a dinosaur to evolve back into the first cell.
Classification is almost arbitrary because from a Darwinian perspective, anything can become anything.
In theory, but some ways.
In theory,
but some ways are much harder than other ways, though.
Sir, but what you're actually speaking about now is environmental constraints. But here's the point.
No, I'm not just talking about environmental constraints.
Well, what else are you speaking about?
So, basically, you can model it as an energy surface. Like, you can model, like,
based on what parameters?
When you evolve a particular trait, like, for example, the eye, and you adopt a particular kind of strategy for seeing things. Like, for example,
that's environmental.
Like, for example, you know how there's squids which don't have something like what's it called, an iris. They have, like, basically a hole here. And so, given that once they've kind of evolved that structure, they've, like, reached a kind of local minimum where any kind of movement away from that would make them less fit and less able to reproduce. And so it's much less likely that they would then suddenly, like, evolve, into a human, because they'd have to go through kind of these life forms, these kind of intermediate life forms, which are totally rubbish at surviving and reproducing. So yes, clearly there are some movements which are kind of easier according to natural selection than other movements.
And these are environmental.
Yeah. Everything's environmental.
Exactly. That's why I just pointed out.
Okay, so what's the problem here?
There is no problem. The problem is.
So you misrepresented what that biologist just said.
No.
Because you quoted
No, sir. Here's what happened.
What?
You said to me it's harder for some things to turn into others. I said because of environmental constraints.
Yeah.
Then you said no, you gave me examples of environmental constraints.
Okay, fair enough. But like that, but that shows that.
Sir, at best, all you're saying is anything can become into anything else if there are sufficient environmental conditions.
Well, there are.
And the environmental conditions on a planet which is apparently 4 billion years old, this large, with this much speciation, is almost infinite.
What?
On a planet, on a time scale of 4 billion years of this Earth, with how long life has been on this Earth, the amount of possibilities is almost infinite.
but that doesn't change that some, even if the possibility, even if there's a wide range of possibilities, the possibilities aren't infinite. Because, for example, there's no place on this earth where, you know, the ambient temperature is 1,000 degrees.
Forget infinite. Let's call it
like
Googleplex. Googleplex.
No, but even then, like, kind of, you know, like there's a certain kind of range of like temperatures. There's